All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to episode 16 of our Gold Road playthrough. So we are actually on our last mission, or our last story quest of the chapter. So we have to do 28 unique quests, and we're at 25, and then something is not adding up, so clearly we're missing a few things. But for the storyline, we have this one to do, and then we'll go cycle around the world to see what we missed, and we'll do that. So with that said, hopefully you guys are enjoying the series, and let's get started. Overall, for all of you who are thinking about picking up Gold Road, or anyone that plays on console, I thought this is overall a very solid chapter in general, so it's worth getting. The environment was nice, story is solid, everything's good.
Excuse my shouting, traveler. You wouldn't happen to have seen a dog running around? Large, fluffy, carrying a very important estate-defining scroll in his mouth?
Seems like a familiar NPC.
Ordeal. I'm visiting West Weald to execute the will of my late aunt, Lady Weatherleah. The will my aunt's beloved dog, Betu, currently has in his slobbery little mouth. No thanks to Lady Weatherleah's investigator friend. Yes. One Mizik Thunderboots. It seems he and my aunt are old friends, and he insisted on helping execute her will. I've had my fill, but you're welcome to lend him a hand. In fact, I can offer you a tidy sum if you can help move things along. You can find Mizik just down the road, searching the Weatherleah estate for Betu. He has quite a distinct look. You can't miss him. Khajiit wearing a broad-brimmed hat and big, heavy boots? Quite the flair for the dramatic, if you ask me.
Let's figure it out. All right. This quest, we're locked in.
Huh. It seems Mizik has been fooled by an old friend approaches. This one knows there are no coincidences in his line of work. Mizik could use help solving a curious case. You wouldn't by any chance have seen a beast running about with a mouthful of parchment? A wonderful idea from dear Aquilia. This one fears there is more afoot to Lady Weatherleah's death. But our first clue is currently in the jowls of a dog. A hairy, stinky thing. Betu is the beast's name, though this one calls him Headache. Oh, yes. Helping with the will is a cover. Not only was her death sudden and mysterious, but now her fortune is missing, and her long-lost son has returned. A great many threads for one's claws to get tangled in. Yes, yes. Aquilia wishes the question of inheritance be conclusively answered before it becomes fodder for the gossips. Now, dear Aid, we must find Betu. This one has already found his tracks. Let us crouch down and follow his trail.
Is that going... Okay, let me see. The paws are like going north.
More tracks. The dog definitely went this way.
You know, even if I wasn't, like, I didn't know, there's a lot of weird, just like that purple puddle around there.
Get it together, Edric. You're a mess.
What's that? Mizik hears voices. Let us listen in.
Our dear lady.
Ooh, eavesdrop.
And you still don't believe me. Men, talk to the investigator. Don't pull me into this.
Can we even trust him? I don't want to be labeled a suspect.
Better to talk to an investigator than a gardener, Edric.
Not a gardener. A friend. You do well to leave, Otho. And take Betu.
Don't mind this Daedric Flappy.
I don't know what you're playing at, but you were a fool to come here.
There's Lady Pelena and her husband Uriel, our once long-lost son.
Be angry all you want, dear wife, but don't cause a scene. I'm here to stay.
Then you can have a deal with your cousin.
Dude, I swear this thing just did a fat circle.
Where could that mangy
There's Betu. Quick, grab the wheel while he is occupied. Quickly, grab the wheel.
Not now, Betu. Away with you.
With
Yoink.
the wheel secured, let us speak with Edric.
Betu's always been an incorrigible sort. Best not to let him walk all over you. Apologies. I should introduce myself. My name is Edric Bressner. I was Lady Weatherleah's cook. Terrible thing, her death. Beyond compare. Yes, terribly so. I've been in her employ for what feels like ages, which is why I hope you'll listen when I say you must leave the estate. I fear what happened to our dear lady could happen to you. Chefs are privy to more than just their employer's favorite dishes. Lady Weatherleah hasn't been the same since her son's disappearance, and I'm not the only one to take notice. Fruit flies buzz around the sweetest fruit, after all. I can't say any more. I only came to pay my respects and to leave this place behind. If I were you, I would stay far away from that manor before that investigator digs up something horrible.
Okay. Goodbye.
If you insist on staying, that's your business. Just watch your back.
How strange. Come, let us speak, traveler. It seems the cook knows more than he is willing to let on. How very curious. Mizik will have to make note of this. At least this confirms that the residents of the estate are keeping their secrets close to their chests. Yes, of course. Along with the cook, there's Otho Florius, the gardener. Then, of course, Lady Weatherleah's...
These names are wild.
Uriel, back from the dead. And his wife, Helena, who has long lived at the estate with Lady Weatherleah. Convenient, yes? Many questions surround Uriel's sudden return. And it should be noted that Helena seems none too pleased about it. Mizik has, of course, investigated a number of failed marriages, but this seems different. Ah, what of the will? Yeah, excellent. The seal is still intact. We should return to the manor now that we've secured the will. I am certain our roosting vultures are keen to hear what it has to say. Meet me.
All these like servants and people, they're like onto us. They know what happened. They were part of it, most likely.
I hope Betu's return means you retrieved the will, Mizik?
Yes, the will is returned and intact, thanks to my assistant.
Well, let's get this over with. Read it aloud, Mizik.
Yes, of course. Weatherleah's walls hide a glittering secret, safely guarded by 4 loyal paws. Do not worry. Mizik and his assistant will get to the bottom of this.
I'm sorry. Is that a riddle?
The estate feels hollow now, without her. And
Dude is
apologies
sus.
for my appearance.
He knows,
Courage to
but he's pretending he
walk the
doesn't.
halls of this corpse.
Betu doesn't seem too fond of you, cousin.
I hope you find who did this. She did not deserve what happened to her.
What is that story? It's like, it's based off a murder mystery book. I remember reading this. This is also like a game too, where you investigate everyone and one person's obviously the villain of the story. I forgot what it was called, but I remember reading something like that many years ago.
Closer than most staff are with their lords and ladies.
Basically
I reckon.
Among Us.
I'd worked for her since before young Uriel had even been born. Feels like a lifetime ago. More memories to drown, I suppose.
I'm Otho, the gardener. Betu must like you if he followed you back. He's a good judge of character, you know. Lady Weatherleah loved
Friendliest
him
people
dearly.
are the most suspicious.
I worry about what will become of him when all is said and done. Edric is making a bit of a fool of himself. It pains me to see him this way. I assure you, he's never acted like this before. Perhaps it'd be better if you asked him. He's had a rough go of it.
It seems I was right to ask for your help. Despite the mysterious contents of the will, this is the most progress we've made all day. I trust you and Mizik will see things through, and we can proceed with this unpleasant business. Fairly, though I wish I had made more of an effort to visit. I spent many summers here when I was younger, but school and then my position kept me away for far too long. She was kind, generous. Her loss outweighs any treasure we might find.
All this waiting, and for what? A riddle. It's absurd. The sooner you and Mizik solve this riddle, the sooner our family can move on from this nonsense.
You are
To think
also
We
sus.
haven't even had a chance to celebrate Uriel's return. How embarrassing. You overheard that. Tensions have been high since his mother's passing. There are certain adjustments we've both had to make. Nothing some restful sleep can't solve.
Okay, so person 1, sus. 2, sus. 4, sus.
I didn't realize Mizik had an assistant. A pleasure to meet you. I hope.
What happened there? Want to talk about it?
Find time to enjoy the estate grounds. It's beautiful this time of year. A small blessing while we grieve. Happy doesn't do the feeling justice. Ecstatic, overjoyed, yet still burdened by Mother's passing and the horrors of battle. But being surrounded by loved ones has been a major boon.
Everyone is kind of sus. You are the least suspicious. I see. That didn't help anything.
Why would Lady Weatherleah leave a riddle in her will? Perhaps you can make sense of it. Could the 4 paws mean Betu? They certainly are not Mizik's. Perhaps we can find a clue here in her study. Huh. It seems Helena made her feelings about the cook quite clear to Lady Weatherleah. It seems Lady Weatherleah led her own investigation into her son's death. A note peeking out from behind the painting. Excellent eye for detail, friend. Interesting. A hidden note guarded by a painting. Let Mizik see the note. An anonymous letter warning Lady Weatherleah of a traitor. This one wonders if they were able to meet before her death. It paints a disturbing picture of her final moments. Mizik was told that Lady Weatherleah died alone in her library. But could she have met with a stranger only to become their victim? We must question the family, but do not mention the note. Whether this note was sent by the killer or a kind soul close to Lady Weatherleah, it confirms one thing, that there is indeed a traitor among us. And with this letter,
Sus?
Mizik can do what he does best. Play cat and mouse.
Yeah, it really is like that. One of those murder mystery stories.
If you are looking for the stranger who calls himself Uriel, he went to walk the estate grounds with Helena, and not a moment too soon. I was growing tired of their bickering. Of course, though I doubt I'd be of much help. I was tending to affairs in High Isle when I learned of my aunt's death. As her last living blood relative, I saw fit to see to her will, until my cousin's convenient reappearance, of course. Oh, as I understand it, she fell from her library's ladder while reaching for a book. If she had kept a modest staff on hand, perhaps she could have been saved. But by the time she was found, she had passed. I believe it was one of the estate's remaining workers. Helena would know more. She was here when it happened. Unlike Uriel. I know grief can cloud one's judgment, but is she not at all suspicious of Uriel's story? haven't seen Uriel since we were teens, before I was sent to boarding school. And then he left to fight in Varen's revolt 6 years ago. He might share a passing resemblance, even with his scar, but I don't believe he's really Uriel. Frustratingly, no. But my aunt spent countless coins searching for Uriel. Even if his story is true, and he lost his memory, she would have found him. I fear Uriel was lost to us in the revolt. And this man is wearing our grief like a disguise. That's the thing. Since his arrival, Pelena has been both overjoyed and furious. I suppose his return after so long could explain her mixed emotions. But I think she's hiding something. They share terse whispers constantly.
If Aquilia was Lady Weatherly's last living heir, could she have expected to...
With the amount of information we have now, I'm not 100% sure. It could be her, like, actually, of the people we talk to, she's kind of, like, pretty sus, actually.
Apologies. Recent events have been overwhelming, to say the least. I needed some fresh air, and my dear Uriel saw fit to join me. Is there anything I can help you with?
She just doesn't seem sympathetic of, like, the whole incident, because if I had to guess, it might be her of all the people, but I'm not sure.
No, I was not. Lady Weatherly was kind enough to let me live on the estate when Uriel went off to fight, but I often spend my mornings walking through the woods, a ritual that has helped ever since Uriel's death. Absence, I mean. Otho Florius, the gardener, was the one who found her. He was the only one home at the time. Ever since I fired that horrible cook, Otho's been the only remaining staff member tending to the estate.
Okay, so she's blaming the gardener.
Yes, I caught Daedric snooping around my private quarters. Terrible thing, having one's privacy encroached upon.
Daedric is
I told him to never return or I'd have Betty chase him out. I admit, I did enjoy striking fear into that sad little man. Well enough. He's known me since my courtship years with Uriel. He causes his fair share of mischief, but Lady Weatherly could never bring herself to get rid of him. After all, Betty was her last connection to Uriel. The dog has a penchant for stealing what isn't his. I usually ask our gardener to wrangle him, but as you can see, he hasn't done a very good job. Of course, now that Lady Weatherly has passed, we can consider alternatives.
Okay, so what do we know? The dog listens to her. She fired the chef, and the gardener was the one who found her. You know those trees where the people, like investigators, put like those lines for all the people? Everything kinda leads to her. I'm gonna be honest.
Go on then, ask me how I returned. It's the only question anyone seems to have for me. Uriel Weatherly, back from the dead. It's laughable.
He's probably an assistant to her, right? In my opinion. So he probably was the one who did it, and then the lady before was like the mastermind.
6 years ago, I left to fight in
The story is deep.
I was gravely wounded and left for dead, and would have died had a caravan of Khajiit not stumbled upon me and taken pity. The Khajiit could heal my wounds, but not my memories. They were lost. Every single one. I rode with the caravan until I was fully healed. It wasn't until we rode into Skingrad that the first slivers of my past began to return. By the time I remembered my name and where I lived, it was too late. Mother was dead.
So he could have been the one who did everything and then lost his memory, so he doesn't know, but he's actually the person. And then his mom was the overall mastermind. Interesting. I see.
Some things, yes. But there are still heavy clouds. For instance, it's clear Mother's riddle was meant for me, but I can't make sense of it. I can only hope your talented investigative skills solve this mystery.
We are a puzzle master. We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
I fear Aquilia has merely succumbed to her own grief, chasing phantasms with bloody daggers. My mother was a wonderful woman who died a simple death. It is sad, but common. You come to understand this when you've been to war. From what I've been told, my mother lived her final years grieving in isolation. My dear wife Pelena did her best to keep her company, but my mother had no friends or visitors. Aside from the hired help, of course.
Yeah, no wonder she's angry.
All this talk of suspects when the woman simply fell. Though I suppose Thunderboots would not be here if the death weren't suspicious. Speak with the staff yourself if you see fit.
These two are very sus, actually. Like, they are high up on that list.
The gardener found Lady Weatherly's body. We should speak to him next.
I'm not saying these two aren't suspicious, but those two higher up.
Apologies for Betu's earlier mischief. I hope he didn't damage the will. He's normally better behaved, but the lady's passing has certainly got him on edge. Yes, I had taken over kitchen duties while Daedric was away. I was restocking the pantry after returning from the market when I heard a loud crashing noise from the library. I thought Betu might have knocked something over in the library, but when I went to check, the door was blocked by something heavy. By the time I wedged myself through, it was too late. Yes, she was lying on the floor, motionless. One of the ladders had fallen and there were books scattered all around. I can take you to see the library. Everything is as I found it. No, Lady Weatherly was the only one in the library, which is odd now that I think about it. Betu is usually plastered to the lady's side, but he wasn't in the library. He was shut up in Pelena's room. I wonder why she would have put him there.
She's suspicious.
Well, Pelena keeps going on about Daedric, our cook. She says he was acting suspiciously leading up to her death. But for what it's worth, I find him to be kind. He may be able to shed more light on that situation himself.
You won't learn anything from those scheming charlatans, that's for sure. Lost memories, please. Children can weave better stories than that drivel. I'll say it again, stranger. You should leave this place. Nothing but rotten memories.
Okay, but why don't you tell me what happened then, so we can figure this out? You are like number 3 on that list of sus.
No. Lady Pelena had all but run me out by then.
Oh, you're just mad that you got fired. Understandable.
I thought some time away would do us all some good. Worst decision of my life. I tell you that. It's my own fault, honestly. Something always felt off to me about Lady Pelena. She never seemed too torn up about Uriel's death. I was convinced she was hiding something, but turns out my chef's paunch doesn't make for being stealthy. She caught me going through her things. A terrible thing, I know, but I don't regret it. Some things deserve to be brought to light. You'll see.
Okay, now that we talked to all 5 people, what do we think happened? This dude is actually, like, he moved up on the list of questionable people. So, in my opinion, the lady that we talked to first, kind of really high up there. This dude, he might be number 2. And then the other dude who lost his memory is number 3, 4, the gardener, and 5 is the first person we talked to. So far from what we know, that's what I think.
The library is to the left. Your other left.
It's a nice library. Broken glass. Okay.
Was that window already broken?
Fallen books.
Something has broken the
I'll never
glass.
forget the sight
Perhaps
of
this was quite the mess for a simple fall, don't you
Bro,
think?
why are you here? You.
No blood, a broken window, and a fractured statue with no explanation as to how it was damaged. Music feels that there is something just out of reach of this one's claws. But what? The details don't add up. Investigations always require some stretch of the imagination, but to make sense of this crime scene would be to dream up a work of fantasy. Perhaps the fantasy is the clue. Only a panicked hand could make such messy brushstrokes. Could Otho's arrival from the market have startled the suspect, leading them to block the door and escape out of the broken window? But then why create such an elaborate scene? A fall is simple enough, a tidy portrait. We should continue to investigate this broken window. Perhaps we can find a trail on the other side.
Okay, so
Until the investigation is complete, everyone...
if we're thinking outside the box, the groundskeeper, he's usually the one patrolling everything, right? And then there's like broken stuff, so he probably like yeeted something through the window. Or he's the one that has the most free reign of everything, right?
The library exterior is just around the corner.
But that's just thinking outside the box.
Betu. Fortis is sniffing. Betu found a key. And look, it seems Betu wants us to follow him. Moons above. Is that Edric?
The cook. He was kind of suspicious. We put him at number 2 on that list, so if this is true, I'd believe it.
A confession. And a flowery one at that. Tea. This one smells ginger, hibiscus, Edric's tankard. There seems to be a suspicious residue inside. So this is the memorial Lady Weatherleah built.
But now that he's gone, I've read mystery books where people like fake their own, fake that to see what happens. So that's also thinking outside the box.
Snout wrinkles at the stench of both fresh and old death. Betu led us to the memorial of the lost Uriel Weatherleah, and now we find the cook freshly poisoned. Let this one see the confession letter. Why would Edric lead us to Uriel's memorial and then kill himself? And earlier, the cook warned us of some mysterious danger. Could he have met the fate he was trying to save us from? Too many bodies and cryptic messages for this one's liking. The note says that Edric served Lady Weatherleah poisoned tea the day she died, but the cook had already left the grounds. Otho confirmed that himself. And this letter says that Pelena was present for tea, but she said she was out all morning. A good question, but the memorial may be a greater clue.
Yeah, I think that is a forged note,
Lady Weatherleah
actually.
had gone to great lengths to find her son, but was certain of his death to raise this memorial. Our Uriel may well be an impostor, but do not give away our upper hand. We know the real Uriel went to fight in Varen's revolt, and that Lady Weatherleah spent a fortune to find his body. We also know from the note in the lady's study that Pelena was against looking into his death. Yes, our masquerading rogue. The cook was certain that he was an impostor, but what about the others? Aquilia has her suspicions, but shouldn't Pelena have known? Why hasn't she raised alarm bells and told the others? And he was the only one who could have ended the impostor's ruse. But then there is Edric's confession. Could it be a forgery to throw us off the trail? Or a convenient end to our investigation? I sense another hasty painting is before us. We should question the impostor, but we mustn't let on that we know his gambit. I also have my reservations about the once and again widowed Pelena. If anyone else was aware of his ruse, it would be her. So why hasn't she said anything? Steady yourself as we approach the impostor, Uriel. This ruse may not be his only crime. It's increasingly likely that he killed Edric to keep his secret.
So, after this plot event, Lady
Here we go.
is the most suspicious, followed by the groundskeeper. And then the other lady, and then the dude that lost his memory is kind of last on that list now.
What is with all the questions, cousin? Aren't you happy to see me?
Yeah, he kind of sus now. He moved up the list.
Pelena and I were just arguing over what to do with my mother's estate. Marriage squabbles.
Like his...
Have you made
How did
progress
that
with
happen?
Mysterious riddle. I can fetch her if you'd like. She just went into the kitchen. The cook, you say?
He was with
Well,
you when
as
you
close
were
as any
investigating.
young heir is with
Interrogating,
their
I
staff.
guess.
Now that I think about it, I always did find him strange. Always one for the shadows. I'm glad Pelena saw fit to fire him. I only wish I were here to do it myself. Dead? What a ghastly turn of events! Hold on. Another memory is coming back to me. Yes. The cook always had a secret love for my mother. Was it grief that led him to kill himself? It must have been.
You are so full of it, bro.
Also
Oh
killed
my
Mother.
god. Uh-oh. Self-reported.
Oh, yes, of course.
Uh-oh.
Must have gotten ahead of myself. Yes, that's it. All this death, I thought I left it behind on the battlefield, but it seems to have followed me home. Whether murderer or murderee,
He went
my
up to
heart goes
top
out to
priority.
Thank you, Uriel. That's all. We should speak to Pelena next, traveler.
There's been another murder? The killer could come for any one of us next.
Man, that was a striking confession.
A troubled man who killed Lady Weatherleah and took his own life.
What the? Oh my god. I saw something out of my corner of my eye. I'm like, yep, dude's just standing there. Very cool.
Oh, Mizik. Do you have a... Mizik, traveler. How fares the investigation? With so much still left to speculation, I've found myself wandering the grounds, trying to keep my hands busy. I hope to have things settled soon, for all our sakes. Edric, a murderer? I'm astonished. I guess I was right to be suspicious of him, but now I wish I'd had him jailed when I could have. What a travesty. At least now we have some closure, and can focus on the missing fortune. Well, the lady and I had intended to meet that morning, but it slipped my mind. If the tea was poisoned, wouldn't that make Otho the suspect? With Edric away, he would have been the one to brew the tea for Lady Weatherleah. I haven't the expertise, of course, to make such an accusation, but I do wonder. Otho and Edric have worked the estate for ages. Could they have felt entitled to a cut of the fortune? Useless speculation, perhaps, but the mind does wonder.
Thank you, Pelena.
Yeah, you still kind of suspicious. You're number one, followed by the dude who just straight up confessed to something. Number two. But you know, when you've ever seen like a mystery movie, it's usually the most quiet people, which the first lady we talked to. This is a chance. I'm actually low-key glad we left this quest till the end, because this one is like keeps you on your toes.
Betu seems to have run off again. It's embarrassing, really. You'd think I'd be better at keeping a handle on him, but the dog is a free spirit. How are things? Made any progress since investigating the library? It had become one of my daily duties while Edric was away. I usually try to brew her a pot before I leave for the market. Apologies for not mentioning that earlier.
That's pretty important.
Have become innumerable. Edric is dead. I can't believe it. No, he'd never hurt Lady Weatherleah. We were like a family. Wait, the recipe for the lady's tea is wrong. She's always found ginger to be too overwhelming. Are you sure Edric wrote this?
No, we kind of thought it was a forged note.
He couldn't have. He'd never make a mistake like that. And he was nowhere near the tea that morning. I started a pot for Lady Weatherleah, and Pelina took over brewing it before I left. Strange. She was most definitely here. She even offered to finish brewing it. I've been so busy as of late that I accepted her offer. It's not every day Pelina lends a hand around the estate. Wait, could Pelina have poisoned Lady Weatherleah?
She was always number one on our suspicion list.
She usually has it in her bedchambers, but the room's been locked this whole time. It seems in the commotion the key has been misplaced. It's likely her room has remained untouched since this whole tragedy began.
Music recalls a gilded key revealed to us by Betu.
Ooh, I think we're almost to the bottom of this.
If the room has truly been locked this whole time, then not even the killer. Let us see if we can find any clues among the mess. If this letter is true, then Pelina... Mizik would like to hear your thoughts on what we've... This note seems to confirm that Pelina Weatherleah had her husband killed while he was away from the estate. Did Lady Weatherleah read it first and confront Pelina with the truth? And what is Pelina left to do when cornered? Indeed, Pelina may have sensed an end to her cozy life. Killing Lady Weatherleah before the imposter's arrival would secure her the fortune. She couldn't have known it was hidden, and now she can't reveal the imposter without outing herself. A poisoned cup of tea would bring unwanted attention to Lady Weatherleah's death. Pelina's only option would have been to stage the scene. A fall from a ladder at the lady's age? Mizik can already imagine the solemn nods of acceptance. They must have brokered an agreement. Ride out the storm of Lady Weatherleah's death and come out the other side rich. But they've stumbled along the way thanks to a curious cook and a meddling Mizik. It's time we confront our killers. Mizik heard us
Dude,
from down the hall.
I knew it.
He's dead. Someone killed him.
Betu? Betu, what's wrong, boy?
Nobody leaves until Mizik finds out what happened. Traveler, there's something by the body. Quick!
We have to help him. Something has made Betu terribly ill. I've never seen him so scared. If only I knew what was wrong, I could help him. Wait. I recognize this smell. Yes, I couldn't place it until now. We used this poison around the estate grounds. We've fallen into such disrepair that beasts have moved into the cellars. Betu knows better than to eat this. He was forced. Yes, in the pantry. I kept a tin of medicinal herbs for this very occasion. I could never forgive myself if I had a hand in hurting Betu. Please, hurry. Get the herbs.
Quickly, friend. Search the pantry.
We're gonna go in here. Someone's about to get clapped in the main room while we come back. Someone else is gonna be missing.
Betu. He's recovering. The herbs must be working.
Wonderful news. Our imposter is dead, and our killer nearly succeeded in taking Betu's life as well. It is also not lost on Mizik as to who is missing from this room. The note you found with imposter Theophan's body. What does it say? The lengths the cook went to protect Lady Weatherleah. This one hopes she knew how dearly she was loved by her staff. There is no doubt left in this one's mind as to who our killer is. She must be held accountable for her crimes. She can't have gone far.
Betu? What is it? Where are you going?
Quickly, follow that dog.
Dude, I knew it all this time. We knew it was her. She's always been on the top of our suspicion list.
These tunnels seem to run under the entire...
Oh, Mizik needs to stop doing that.
Get away from me, you beasts!
I hear Pelena's voice. She...
Dark moons.
Damn dog. How are you still alive? I've committed no wrong. That man was an imposter.
Then why are you
If I
here?
hadn't done him first, then he would have killed me. I spit on Theophan.
Leashing at its finest. My immersion.
I've committed. How could you possibly say that? Whose inane rambling convinced you of such nonsensical drivel? Everyone is out to frame me. Theophan, Otho, even that damned Daedric.
If you were innocent, why would you be running down this tunnel like that? I'm just curious. I mean, we all suspected you. I suspected you from the very beginning.
Damn this rotting estate. Everything I did, everyone I killed, I did it for my own survival. I hope it crumbles into dust just like that crone and her son. I spit on their graves.
The Count of Skingrad will decide your fate.
Helena, why
You've
would
done
you
great
hurt
work
Betu?
today, traveler.
We
The air
are
is heavy with
pro investigator.
Just like the sun, truth will come out. If only Lady Weatherleah could see Pelena beaten at her own game. Pelena will be delivered to Skingrad. With the evidence in hand, she should face charges for the deaths of Uriel, Lady Weatherleah, and our imposter. While it's possible Theophan killed Daedric, I am certain she played a role. To think this one nearly forgot about our remaining golden thread. Aquilia is the only living relative. Mizik supposes she will inherit the fortune. Not that we found a single coin to give her. Fortune aside, What we accomplished today is no small feat. If the fortune was to be found, we'd have stumbled upon it during our investigation.
What have you got there, boy?
It seems Betu has brought us something. Betu, where did you find this?
Are we just gonna leave her here, or I mean,
escort Belena back to the manor. We will follow.
That's the one thing about, you know, the Fallout games, if you ever played them, where you could just kill an NPC if you guess right, or it breaks the story, but you get the actual choice. Here it's all like, oh, you just get arrested.
Music should have been more prepared. Let's see what you're made of.
Missy can't believe it.
Music needs to stop.
Lady Weatherleah must have left that note before her death. We should show it to Aquilia.
Music is all right.
Helena, is it true? After everything my aunt did for you,
I don't owe you an explanation.
Otho did his best to explain your findings. But is it really true? Helena is to blame for this nightmare? I thought she was acting strangely, but I blamed it on the grief. I would never have expected her to be capable of all this. And what of Uriel? What was his role in all this? I knew something was off about him.
Yep.
But to think he also played a role in killing my cousin. Lady Weatherleah gave Helena a comfortable life, looked after her every need. All this death, in the pursuit of an absent fortune. Betu was safeguarding the fortune this whole time? It's a strange request, leaving the remaining fortune to Betu and her staff? But I wouldn't dare go against my aunt's wishes. How sweet. Lord Betu of Weatherleah.
You have got to be joking.
Many lives.
The dog.
I can't believe it. There must be some mistake.
There's no mistake, Otho.
Many lives were lost, despite our best efforts. There is certainly joy to be found in our success, but this one will spend many a night wondering if there was more that could be done. Perhaps he is not as good an investigator as he thought. Do not downplay your role either, friend. You forget, Mizik was a bumbling mess, chasing a sneeze-inducing beast. Betu, until you arrived. You deserve a reward for your work, but know that this one is in your debt. Mizik hopes news of this case strikes fear in the heart of all criminals who think they have gotten away with their crimes. No matter how many years go by, justice is still hunting, and Mizik will find you in the end. Mizik will stay for a while as executor of the estate, but he cannot linger long. There are crimes that require his attention, and he must hurry before the trail goes cold. Yes, and Mizik could not have done it without you, but resting in the shade of one's successes too long dulls the claws. We will meet again, friend, and criminals will tremble at the thunder of our boots. Mizik likes saying that part.
I've always preferred cats.
All right. Well, that was a very intense quest. I thought that was good. I really like this quest.
Oh.
We were right all along. I am a pro investigator. Let's go. But yeah, that was a good story. We are 100% it. And yeah. I think for now, this might be the end of the journey. But whenever they add more stuff, we still have a bunch of achievements to go through. For Gold Road is a lot of extra goodies that we have to do, scribing, bosses, and everything. But overall, that was a really good journey. So thanks for following me throughout my Gold Road playthrough. Any extra episodes that come out will probably be the Lucent Citadel if I record that one. Anything else? But I think we are done. We 100%ed the zone, and yeah, that's it. I'm glad we left one of the best quests over here. This one was a really good one, so I'm glad we left that one to the finale, and hope you guys enjoyed the series as well. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you guys come back. If you're new as well, drop a quick like on the video. It does help the channel grow. And yeah, so we're just kind of mixing in ESO and Black Desert together, and hopefully we'll add more stuff into here, and that's about it. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.